Welcome back, guys. Zeb Monopoly here. Today we're back to cover Marathon Digital Holdings. As of today, my total holdings is around $250,000, which is around 13,000 shares in Marathon Digital Holdings. Last time I seen you, there was 7,000 shares. And of course, we kept adding on, and the price has increased today. So look, today we're going to cover Marathon Digital Holdings. It's a little bit off. Just ahead of the halving tomorrow, and of course I want to tell you what I expect the halving to do and what Marathon Digital and all these miners are going to do. So Marathon Digital Holdings, guys, is a Bitcoin mining stock, and after the halving, all of these mining stocks and companies will have the revenue slashed in half, some less than others, okay, just because they're more efficient. So Marathon Digital Holdings was kind of downgraded by JP Morgan's few weeks ago, I believe, and basically they had an underweight on it, which means it will underperform, and surely today has actually underperformed. The only reason these stocks underperform when these analysts say will underperform, it's because of their ratings, nothing else. Today I'm going to prove them wrong, because they're not right? They're hardly right. Every time they put out something, just like Jim Cramer, something happens differently. So look, Marathon Digital Holdings, we've run through the analysis, but I want to just answer one very important question that is, steering investors clear from this, or retail traders, rookies, and that is the share offering. Okay, so let's just cover this, the share offering. A lot of articles was written about this. So far in 2024, we have raised $500,000 at an average share price of $18 or so, said CEO Fred Thiel. Okay. So they issued shares. Great. That's to expand without having to sell your Bitcoin. They don't want to sell Bitcoin. They want to buy more miners and more sites without selling Bitcoins. And that's a good move, by the way, because your valuation as a company is attached to Bitcoin itself. And that's good, because we know Bitcoin is going to keep coming up and going up. That's why we invest in these, right? We don't want a company that has very little Bitcoin or is constantly selling their Bitcoin. We want some company that has a treasury that's holding Bitcoin, because as Bitcoin goes up, so does their stock and valuation. So here's the big scary thing. As our 10K will show, by the way, this release was in February. That's why the stock dropped. As our 10K will show, we have filed a new shelf, giving us an option to raise an additional $1.5 billion at the market equity offering. So this is a shelf offering, which means it's here on the shelf, and they may exercise it or may not. They will probably exercise it. At what price? Well, this is the question. So this would bring our total potential war chest over $2.5 billion if it were fully exercised. So this $1.5 billion offering, this is around, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 20 million shares extra on top of what's already outstanding. At a valuation, if we were to do it at 20 million shares, at a valuation of $50 or $35, it will give you 20 million shares. And it will give you 1.5 billion or so. Okay? It will probably be around that figure. So that's around 20 to 25 million shares extra to be issued. At what price? Probably around the 30s or the 50s. Okay? And by then you want Bitcoin over 100,000. And I'm sure they know what they're doing, right? They're not going to offer it now and hurt the stock price. That would be stupid. No company would do that. So that's what it means when it says shelf offering. It means they're going to issue the shares, the remaining shares, at a good price, when Mara is basically at 50 or so and Bitcoin is high, so it doesn't hurt the stock price. It might cause a dip, but it will recover immediately because the share price is hot at that given moment in time. Now, this is also the case for CleanSpark, Riot, Wolf, all of these other mining companies. You cannot survive the halving or the next half in 2028 without offering more shares to try and expand. So what happens after they've expanded and they've acquired maybe a new business or new sites? Well, what would happen in this case is you are mining one Bitcoin per puzzle that you're solving. And everybody's mining the same Bitcoin, but the cost has increased. The company that has Bitcoin on its balance sheet is going to continue staying up steady and basically increasing on value, even if they're not mining enough, because their valuation is attached to Bitcoin. And that's why I tell you guys, if you're going to invest in a mining company, make sure it's one that has Bitcoin on its balance sheet and it doesn't constantly get rid of it. And this is the biggest company, Marathon Digital Holdings. Basically, it has now almost 20,000 Bitcoins when they'll release it. So let's talk about the price now. Well, we know, guys, the price is reversing, okay? And we have a gap to 17 to fill. We've been buying slowly, and we may go to 13. I really thought I'd take more shares at 13, but today it just bounced back from 14 level. And Bitcoin is bouncing back. So where can this go? Well, the target for this is saying on Yahoo Finance is $26. Sure, we can go back to 26, but I believe this should be over $31 once Bitcoin engulfs, over $31. Once Bitcoin engulfs $100,000. Matter of fact, Bitcoin can stay at 70,000. In 2024, these guys are going to increase their hash rate, which means they're going to produce more Bitcoins. So we're definitely not staying at the 15. As long as Bitcoin is at 70 plus, and these guys have plans to continuously grow into 2025, then I believe for the next 3 years, we're going to see a lot of growth with this stock. 2028, they would have diluted some shares to buy new mining facilities, and they would basically start mining. Of course, they have to keep up with the demand. And by then, most cryptos or most of these miners will probably end up merging together. And this is the biggest company that has the capital to merge and acquire. Okay, so I think you'll see a lot of positive data and catalysts for Marathon Digital Holdings in the future. Okay, guys? We're going to continuously look for opportunities when we're looking to buy. I believe we're going to see this at over 20s in no time. Okay, in this summer, let's just look at Bitcoin real quick. I did expect Bitcoin to go to 57, but it didn't. It ended up just bouncing. I wanted Bitcoin to go to 57,000, right? So just around here, and then bounce from that level. And hopefully we do get 57. Because it would create enough room for investors to buy things at a cheap price. And I think the next 8 months, we have a lot of positive data. Potential interest rates, one cut, that's all it takes for equities to go up. You've got the presidential election, so there's a lot of positive stuff. We've seen this war in Iran, Israel, causing a lot of volatility, which is disgusting to see, but volatility is good. We're here to buy cheap, sell high, right? And these are the moments and the times where you actually acquire shares at a cheap price. Okay, so that's my analysis for today. I've already went through the financials of Marathon Digital Holdings. There's nothing else to say for this, guys, except that it is one of the best performing companies. Now, we want to see in the next earner report how they're doing after the halving. We really want to see how many Bitcoins they're mining and how much it's costing them. That's the first thing we're going to see. And let's hope it's not a big hit, okay? It doesn't kind of take a toll on their balance sheet or their profitability. But if we're looking at the current price, the profit margin is 67. If we get that slashed in half, it's still going to be 30%. It's still big. It's still huge, guys. And over time, they'll reclimb back to the 67% because they're going to double their hash rate by 2025, which means they'll produce the same Bitcoins and more because they have other ventures and they're getting fees as they are today. Okay, so that's what we're going to see. And Bitcoin price is increasing. So you see we have two double troubles approaching us here, for the best, of course. Okay, so that's the analysis. Of course, CleanSpark is going to be cheaper. It mines at a cheaper price, but it has less Bitcoin. So, everybody's going to offer shares. It's not just Marathon Digital Holdings that has share offering. Every miner. That's me done, guys. Hopefully you appreciate this video. Smash that like button. We're going to keep making these videos until we see profitability on Marathon. And every video you learn something new. If you want to get to talk to me and get to listen to what I have to say, well, you can join us here on the Patreon, to the chat rooms. Other than that, guys, follow me on Instagram. Peace and love as always.